Hello, I'm Andrea Thompson, Editor-in-Chief at Marie Claire. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us today. I'm here with Leah Hill. She's a hairstylist, salon founder and technical educator for Aveda. She advises hair professionals on all hair types, but specialises in textured hair. Hello. Thanks for
Hi.
joining us, Leah. I really wanted to use this opportunity to expand on some of the things that we've talked about before, because I met Leah a couple of years ago and she's so passionate about the subject of textured hair and educating people about how to style and treat it. Leah, tell me a little bit about your first experiences in mainstream salons and what kind of inspired your journey in terms of your career.
Yeah, definitely. So I think I've always been really passionate because I sort of started off in a salon as an apprentice, and I was really passionate about being able to do all hair types. With having textured hair myself, I found that guests would, walk by the window in the salon and see me and just assume like I may be able to do their hair. And I realised that, that was something that I definitely wanted to make sure that once I was qualified, I was able to do everybody's hair. It was a little bit difficult with the sort of education and training. I did go out of the city that I'm from. I went to a different city to train in textured hair following my education as an apprentice. So within the salons, being a guest myself, I found that it was more difficult to find stylists able to style my hair. My mum always did her best in trying to find salons and find the right products, but it was always that little bit more difficult, I'd say.
I mean, what do you think are the main barriers to salons being more inclusive of all types today? There's been a lot of noise on social media about what needs to be done. What do you feel are the main barriers to that progress being made?
Yeah, I think the main barriers is the fact that it's not been something that all hairdressers have been taught about from the very beginning of their career. So when they were training at the very beginning, textured hair hasn't always been included, not as an optional unit. It's not always been included from the very beginning. So I feel that's why moving on from like having my own salon and moving into education, I've been really passionate about that side of things and really helping stylists and being that educator and that person that I wish that I'd had moving forward throughout, my career, that can really help me to understand textured hair and really be able to work with it as best we can, really. So I think the main barrier is the fact that it's harder to unlearn things than it is to learn things from the beginning, which is what I'm doing with Aveda, traveling across the UK and Ireland and really trying to help and educate stylists to become more confident.
Yeah. And you actually did a pop-up at Selfridges, didn't you? What kind of experiences did you have there? What sort of things were people saying to you when they came in and, off the street for a treatment and saw you there? What things were people saying?
Yeah, so as well as obviously educating professionals, I also started, educating obviously my guests as well. But within Selfridges, I was actually there doing a pop-up, was styling like influencers' hair, styling guests that wanted treatments done. And I think the main thing for me was seeing people's reactions to just me being there. Just people with textured hair would walk past and sort of see themselves maybe in me or the guests that I was doing, and it's not something that they'd said they'd seen before, or they would expect, to walk into Selfridges and be able to get their hair done with having textured hair. It's not something that there's a huge representation of, across everywhere. So especially in somewhere that's as prestigious and well known and established as Selfridges, it was quite it was quite surprising, really. And people definitely were really engaging. They wanted to, know what I was doing, know what products I was using. And it was amazing to be, somewhere like that and be able to service guests there.
And what was the feedback from the stylists you were working alongside and educating?
In Selfridges or just as a whole?
Selfridges, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the feedback is, again, they want because we have with Aveda, we have blow dry bars across the UK, and we put programs in place to train all of our stylists on our blow dry bars, and I work very closely with them. So their main feedback is they really want to be able to service every single guest that walks past or wants to be able to get their hair done. They're really passionate about making that change and making it something that's the norm to see.
I want to talk a bit about legislation now, because in 2021, the National Occupational Standards for Hairdressing updated their legislation, asking that all hairdressers have to learn about Afro hair as much as they learn, around any other hair type. Before that decision, hairdressers could qualify without ever having styled or treated Afro hair. Do you think that's changed the industry at all?
I think there's definitely been more awareness, especially from the media, social media, and with that legislation being put in place. There's definitely more of an awareness and more ownership onto stylists to think, whoa, actually, I haven't actually trained, and maybe I should. Maybe when it was a little bit more optional, it was more of like the norm thing to do, to not learn. Whereas now it's being made more clear and more visible that all hairdressers should be able to learn all hair textures. There's so many guests that have a similar story of not being able to find a salon or being refused from being able to get a treatment done. They're having to travel out of town. I personally had people coming from all over into my salon because they can't literally find a salon within their area, and it shouldn't be that way. I think we should all be coming together, bridging that gap, bridging that divide, and be able to have the choice, because I'm all about choice and having the option. You should be able to choose your salon, choose your stylist, not have it depend on whether you've got one hair type or you've got another.
One of the things that you've done as well is sort of style models during Fashion Week, which must be a huge challenge in terms of the timings and the pressure. But it is an area that, models of different races and with different hair have always sort of talked about is a real challenge in terms of inclusivity. They turn up to shows and there's no one, there backstage to do their hair. There's nobody that knows about how to treat it. What kind of experiences did you hear from models that you worked with, and what was their experience of seeing you and working with you, do you think?
Yeah, so it's definitely something that I always hear a lot, whether it be models on shoots, whether it be Fashion Week, whether it be influencers, celebrities that I've worked with, that the main thing is that they haven't necessarily come across people that can work with their hair type on, like you say, for example, Fashion Week or on a shoot. So the particular model that I remember from last year that I worked with, she had like really, big textured hair. It was like really long, and she needed it blown out, pressed, styled in 10 minutes. And I remember that the lead stylist coming over, like, are you going to be okay? Like, it's only 10 minutes. And I was like, yeah, I'll be fine. I was like, I've set myself the challenge, but safely. And, she was like, it's the best my hair has actually been styled, and I can't believe you've done it in 10 minutes. But it's because of my knowledge and experience and expertise that I was able to work under that amount of pressure, but also have the model feel really comfortable knowing that I had experience, and she was able to get the same treatment just like everyone else and feel just as comfortable.
That's great. I mean, I'm still absolutely shocked you could blow dry hair in 10 minutes.
Set me the challenge.
Finally, I want to talk about, the other kind of issues involved, because training is only part of the problem, isn't it? Do you think we need more inclusive workforces in mainstream salons on the whole? Is there
Yeah, definitely. I think it's quite hard to speak about maybe a topic like this when you maybe not have experienced these things, if you've maybe not had that experience where you've been, refused an appointment, or where you've not felt included or been made to not feel included. So I think that, and having that representation is definitely key, and we need more of that, because that's where the passion will come from. That's where the driving force comes from. And I know personally with Aveda, that's what we're really trying to do, and I'm trying to lead with creating more opportunities for stylists that are able to work with textured hair. We've just taken on 2 new of my colleagues that are going to be working alongside me to build a real sort of texture squad, I would like to say. But yeah, just really moving forward and creating more opportunities, because that's where we'll see the real change.
Yeah. And social media really does have a big part to play, doesn't it, in galvanizing people and, raising a lot of these issues so that we're actually discussing them.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think with social media, everything's at that sort of click of a finger now, and people get that access, and people can really wait. If people want to raise awareness, it's a lot easier to do by social media now. So I think things can happen that little bit quicker. So I think all being supportive of each other on social media, and really sort of even having these sometimes uncomfortable conversations online on social media, it does it's a quicker, more faster way of really bringing awareness to a subject that you are passionate about. And I think anyone that has a platform, or like myself, that would like to spread more awareness on social media, I think it can be used in a really great way.
Before we wrap up, I'd love to ask you, what is your key hack for textured hair? What one tip do you really swear by?
So my biggest tip, and this is something that I swear by and my guests have seen huge improvements from, is looking after your scalp. So being able to properly cleanse, being able to properly condition, use the right products to suit your scalp. I always say a healthy hair comes from a healthy scalp. And a lot of what I hear a lot of with textured hair guests is that, oh, my hair doesn't grow, or it's not growing as quick as maybe straight hair. But it definitely does grow. It just needs the appropriate scalp care. So in Aveda, my favorite is our new scalp solutions, which we have like a shampoo, a treatment, and serums for your scalp that are suited specifically. Because I think a lot of people use products that are not suited to their scalp on the scalp. And yeah, you definitely need a good scalp routine.
Thank you so much, Leah. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.